Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing just the beautiful classic Katharine Hepburn makeup look. This is a look I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I could never quite figure out what made Katharine Hepburn Katharine Hepburn. And what I finally figured out is that she just had more of a naturalness about her. If you look at pictures, even though her hair was nicely done, she often had a bit more frizz than other actresses. Nothing was slicked down. She was a little more free, had that sense of being maybe a little more wild and carefree. And even with her makeup, there was that sense of naturalness about her. So this is going to be a natural Katharine Hepburn look that of course is still beautiful today. And let's get right into it. I'm going to start with my Giorgio Armani. This is the Power Fabric Foundation. I'm using the color 4. It's a nice match for, you can see my uneven tan here. It's a nice color for paler olive skin. I'm not going to try to match my hands, which are getting very dark in this summer weather. And this will give you a nice coverage, but it doesn't feel heavy and it doesn't look heavy as it drips down my face while I talk. Now it's difficult to tell if Katharine Hepburn wore bronzer or if it was just her beautiful facial structure, but I think it would be a crime not to try to mimic her cheekbones in a look based off of her. So I'm gonna grab my L'Oreal Infallible foundation stick. This one is in the color 412. Alright, so let's try to get these cheekbones. I'm going to squish mine up and just go a nice slight curve there, and then bring it down. And I'm just going to use a little of this along my nose to try to make it a little thinner and sharper looking, and just kind of highlight my jaw. Okay, so now that I have that initial blend, and this is not the final, you can see the lines are quite apparent. But I'm going to grab my Kiko concealer. This one is in the color 01, so it's the palest shade if I'm not mistaken. And I just want to start popping this a little under my eyes where I naturally have some bags there. And then right in the center of the nose, again to work on making that look a little straighter. And then I just want to use this right around those false cheekbones. And as we get here, I both want to highlight the cheekbone effect and make sure that it's well blended. So I'm just slightly going over that line, thinning it out a little while making sure that we still get that effect. My nose does have a fairly prominent bump here, so I don't think we'll ever get it to look exactly straight, but I did my best. And we have our Katharine Hepburn cheekbones. Now, she always seemed to keep her eyes very bare, and since I'm trying to achieve the same thing, I'm just going to grab my Prism palette I'm going to pick the color Date Night. This one is probably the closest to my skin tone. And I'm just applying that to the lid. No fancy techniques here. Now, since she had, I guess, more heavily lidded eyes than I do, I'm not sure if that's the correct term, I guess since you can see a lot more of my eyelid than you could of hers, I'm just going to take my duo stroke eyeliner and very gently line my upper lash line, keeping it looking natural, but just to give the illusion that my eyelid is a bit smaller. Now my next step is the mascara. Since I do want this to look a little more natural than usual, I'm going to go in with a dark brown mascara, whereas I would almost always choose black. This is just a subtle difference that I think makes a big impact overall in the look. So the one I'm choosing is my Guerlain, and this one is in the color Mocha, and as you can see, it is a very deep brown, so we're not doing anything too crazy here, just enough so that it softens the eyes, keeps them looking natural. And there we go. Now I often don't give this mascara enough credit. Normally I go for one of the cheaper brands because they do very nice work, but the thing about the Guerlain is that it actually does really lengthen the lashes, but it doesn't leave any clumps, which a lot of other ones that claim to lengthen or make look fuller do. And this shade of brown I think works really nicely, just softens it a tiny little bit to make the look more natural. So now for the brows, I'm going to use my e.l.f. brow pencil. This one is in, I believe this one is a natural brown. Fortunately, it's not written on there, but I'll double check before I put it in the description. And she had beautiful brows that were very natural looking like the rest of her. They did not look overly plucked, they did not look overly shaped, so I'm just gonna go right with my natural brow shape here and just gently fill mine in. Keep looking down at my iPad just to check if I'm going in the right direction. And I always know that I've done a good job on a makeup tutorial if when I do the Face ID it doesn't recognize me. So we'll check at the end. Alright, so now let's move on to the lips. She had a very distinct lip shape. The curve of her upper lip was just something special. I don't really know how to describe it. Hopefully I can recreate it. And she often chose a much deeper red lipstick than other actresses at the time. She didn't really go for that bright red. So I'm going to grab my Italia Deluxe lip liner, and I'm choosing the color Rich Red. As you can see, it's still a beautiful shade, but it is darker, deeper, and I think this will be a good match for her lipstick. So I'm going to start just by lining the bottom lip normally. I think my lips are a bit more full than hers, but I don't want to underline them. I think that would look a little too crazy for this look. Alright, so now for the upper lip. Going a little outside those corners. And then I just want to curve this over. I'm trying to hide my Cupid's bow and morph it into a less pronounced one. Okay, so that's a little uneven. Let's fix that. I think my Cupid's bow might be a little too pronounced still. Let's go ahead and put the lipstick on and just see. I don't want to change anything too drastically from my natural shape because that'll take away from the supposed naturalness of this look. Alright, so now I'll be going in with my lipstick. You guys might recognize this from another tutorial. Yes, I did buy it just because I liked the container. I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to be. But it was sparkly and it was fun, and best of all, it's actually a nice color. This is a beautiful deep shade of red, and I will put the name of it in the description. I believe it's Paris, but obviously my French is not what it could be, so I'm going to write it down. Alright, so now let's just fill in these lips. And this is the finished look for Katharine Hepburn. And I just love the naturalness of this with the pop of lipstick. It feels dressy but light, that carefree, wild sense that I always found she embodied. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. So thank you so much for being with me here, and I am looking forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.